Well, hello, friends. Jeremy Knight here with a quick check-in about all things happening at St. Paul's United Methodist Church as we get finished with the month of October and start to make the transition into a new season here at St. Paul's. I first just want to say an immense thank you for your attention, for your response, for your engagement in what has been a 3-week stewardship emphasis as we've been thinking very critically about what God has entrusted to us and what our responsibility is to that. And so I just want to thank you so very much for staying plugged into that process. So many of you have stepped up and either for the first time or for the 30th time, who knows, have made a commitment to say that you understand that God has entrusted you with much and that you know that God calls you to participate in what God is doing through this particular local church, and you have turned in an estimate of giving card, and we want to thank you for that. Others of you are still in the process of discerning that, and we welcome that, of course. And if you have questions about any of those things, please let us know. If you'd like to connect with anybody in our leadership, we would love to have the opportunity to talk to you because we really do value the opportunity to partner together in ministry and mission here at St. Paul's and in our community. And so over the next several weeks, you'll hear me just continue to remind you that we will still receive those estimate of giving cards, pledge cards, whatever you would like to call them, so that we can start making preparations for 2026 fiscal year. So enough about that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can see here to my right, your left is our angel tree that has been put up as we make the transition to November. Of course, we are getting ready for the holidays in many ways. And if you're new to St. Paul's, this has been our tradition the last several years, is to invite you to consider what it means to stand in the gap specifically for a foster child, a child that is in foster care here in Marion County. We have a great partnership with the Fostering Foundation here. Several of our folks volunteer there consistently, and one of the many things that they do throughout the year is help stand in the gap during the holidays for foster families. And so you'll see when you arrive here on one of these sheets of paper information about a particular child that is in foster care and what some of their needs are. And so you'll hear more about that Sunday in worship as Jane Darling will share with you about that, but I just wanted to give you a heads up that that's here, and we'll be collecting those over the next several weeks. All right. Also, just a couple of things to make sure you're aware of. If you haven't heard me say this Sunday is a special Sunday. It is All Saints Sunday, the Sunday that follows All Hallows Eve, and where we remember and draw close to, again, the immense gift of the saints among us. And not just the saints among us, but we give thanks for the saints that have departed this world. And so you're going to see some friends and family members of 10 of our beloved saints who have passed away this year that will be with us. They'll be in worship with us and celebrating their dear loved ones. So make space for them, encourage them, embrace them, as I know that you will. Thank you for being the kind, loving, and compassionate people that you are. So we'll have a special worship service, of course, that we'll institute and remember those folks as a part of the great cloud of witnesses, right? And so we'll have that this Sunday, as well as we will share in the Lord's table and come together for the sacrament of Holy Communion. So I look forward to that and sharing that sacrament with you. Also, it is very important that if we are to be Christian people, that we do not hide away or insulate ourselves from the realities of our world and the realities of our community and our nation right now. And so I just want to say a couple things to you about some of the things I would like for you to consider. Many of you are aware that as you receive this, preparations are being made because SNAP benefits, a nutrition assistance program that helps millions of people around our nation that are facing food insecurity, that their benefits will run out on November the 1st. Most of you have heard that. Most of you have heard many people placing blame and being outraged by that. And I'm not saying that that isn't warranted. What I'm saying is, as a Christian person, you should be outraged and I should be outraged because there's going to be people going without food. And that should be our primary concern right now. So I want to talk to you about a couple things that you can do Our mayor, Ben Marciano, made a beautiful post, nonpartisan post. Thank the good Lord about reminding us of some things. I went and did some research for myself. You should know that in 2024 in Marion County is recorded over 16% of residents used SNAP assistance. With the rising cost of groceries and the influx and the growth of Marion County, we can only imagine that 16% is much higher in 2025. So that's almost 1 in 5 persons here in Marion County that their SNAP benefits, whatever degree of SNAP benefits they were receiving, will end as you're receiving this weekend. So it's important to know that this is not a partisan issue. This is a people issue. Specifically, if we call ourselves Christian and we have a desire to stand in the gap with those that are in need. We've been talking recently about the care for the least of these here. If we mean that, if we believe that Jesus said these things and if he meant them, then it is our response to take this very seriously as well. So I just want to say that. There are, of course, many other programs that are affected in addition to SNAP, Head Start, and many others. So we need to be mindful of that. And here's some things that I would like to offer to you. Will you call your elected representatives? Doesn't matter if you voted for them. Doesn't matter if you agree with their take on things. They are our representatives. It doesn't matter if they're your best friend and you know them and you voted for them and they need a phone call. They need a phone call from us. If you don't get somebody, leave a message. Tell them your concerns. Tell them that, there are some realities that they can do. They can come to the table and they can work. They can work together. That's why we elected people, right? To represent us, to work together. The other thing they can do is just to be mindful, and you can remind them that there are funds available for times such as this. There are contingency funds that the USDA has that they were put there with our tax money for these particular purposes. And so remind them of that. Tell them they have them in their purview to bring people together and to put pressure on the powers that be to release some of those funds to stand in the gap if we're not going to be able to move forward in another way. Also, there's ways that you can do things locally. A couple of places come to mind that if you want to help fill in the gap with food over the next however long it takes, whether it's days or weeks. I pray it's not any longer than that. I want to remind you that these folks help feed people. Salvation Army, Northwest First Avenue, they have a food pantry there. St. Teresa Catholic Church in the southern part of Marion County that helps serve folks in Bellevue and Summerfield and that area that may be in need. Helping Vets is located on East Silver Springs. So they stand in the gap with veterans and they have a food pantry there. And of course, one that we are partnered with and trust immensely is Interfaith Emergency Services, who has one of the largest food pantries. And of course, you can drop off any food there at 450 Northwest 2nd Street. Or you can go to iesmarion.org and make a financial contribution, and they'll make sure that it gets to the food pantry. Okay. So thank you. Again, if we are a Christian people, and if we care about those that are in need, which I pray that we do, there are ways that we can make our voices heard. Because if we are truly living from a place of faith and a place of dedication to not only Christ, but those whom Christ loves and Christ calls us to serve, now is the time to show that. Now is the time to be the church. This is not a partisan issue. Please hear me. This is not a partisan issue. This is a people issue. So thank you for giving me a couple minutes just to encourage you. I pray that you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I pray that we continue to look in ways to love and serve our neighbors this day and all the days ahead. All right? Grace and peace to you all.